You're listening to The Sizzle on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television.
Hey, let's ask a question now. Is Maria Taylor just going to fade away into the ether now that she's not on the ESPN, the big dog?
Well, you got a few things she can do. She can go out and do some more social media things. She can do some other platforms. If she's like on BR, she can make some moves around. I mean, it is not the end all or be all with ESPN, because ESPN has been known to cut sisters loose.
But she's the sports person. Maria Taylor, unless she's going to go into, she's going to be the next Oprah or something. Mm-hmm. Her whole thing was based upon her being a woman in sports on ESPN.
Right.
That's the reason why you see the Sage Stills are still there, the Rachel Nichols are still there. You start seeing, the Candace Parkers are going to be there eventually. You're going to eventually see the Sydney McLaughlins are going to end up at ESPN at some point in time. ESPN does not have a rival.
Right.
NBC Sports is not a rival to ESPN. It's just not.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
The question
and Draymond
right
Green will probably be there soon. If he's not at TNT, he'll probably be there.
All right. So, they're all coming. So at some point in time, does she, just because she's on a little dinghy now of a sports ship, NBC Sports, NASCAR, is it NASCAR? I think it's NASCAR and football. I think, but is what really drives, and golf. So is Maria Taylor really going to be sitting there now on the fourth green? It's I think that's a putter he's got. I'm not sure. Is that a putter? What is that? Or is that a cue stick? I'm not sure. She's, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, I'm sure she can call these games, but what the issue is that her driving influence was that she was the Sage Still, she was the carry champion of those booths. She was carrying those. She was the Molly Quirm of those booths. Now she doesn't have that platform, and nobody's going to look for Maria Taylor. Here's the one thing, we talked about this before. I like Maria Taylor. I really do. I like what she does. This is not a disparaging comment about Maria Taylor. Usually when you say that's going to be a disparaging comment, but it's not. But she doesn't drive the needle, right? I don't look down there and say, Maria Taylor's calling this game and I'm going to stop and watch it, right? If you're watching Duke, who's going to be calling the Duke game? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You're going to sit there, you're going to tune in for the commentators. Mm-hmm. If it's Stephen A. Smith, you're going to stop and listen to a Stephen A. Smith. You're going to stop and listen to Max Kellerman. I'm not even a big boxing fan, but if Max Kellerman's face shows up, I'm going to stop and listen to what he's saying. I'm not necessarily going to stop when Maria Taylor's on.
Well, you know? Let's say that. Let's stop there and think about this. Let's put a pin on Maria Taylor, but all right. So sizzle or fizzle. Max Kellerman's last day at ESPN, nice little send-off. Everybody was there. Molly was really happy. But the auspicious missing one was Stephen A.,
and he's wrong for that. And he's absolutely
mysteriously wrong. He had to go and get a surgery, and his face was
wrong.
And now he calls in. He didn't even video in. He called in to a man that's been his partner for 5 years and helped that ship keep moving.
That was I hope he said ship. That was a weak move by him. Weak move. If it was something, unless you were in a car accident or something like that, but if you were able to call in, that meant you could have came in. All right. If you were able to sit there and talk, you were able to do it. You should have been in studio unless you had something that was contagious, right? Whatever you had going on, it all of a sudden got scheduled on the day you knew that Max Kellerman was leaving. Come on, Stephen A. All right. Should have been there.
My thing is, I was thinking in my head, best host, best main host. I'm not talking about the star of the show, but Cold Pizza First Take going back. And Molly Qerim Rose doesn't jump in my top 10. In fact, she's probably in the top 5 only because it hasn't been that many. But when I think about good third parties they've had, especially when it comes to female anchors, they've had Carrie Champion, who was really good at being able to fit in that mix and mix it up enough with them where it kept that banner going. I like Dana Jacobson. She was able to move around and do some things. And then it becomes kind of muddy. I wouldn't put Molly, to me, has probably been the most interchangeable host they've had as far as the lead host or the intermediary between them all.
Molly wasn't Carrie Champion, and so she wasn't a person looking for any spotlight. She was very happy to sit in the background and let those guys be those guys. Who's ever out in front of her, because she didn't need to be out in front. Carrie Champion, I think, was getting large, and I think Carrie Champion, the booth was too small when Carrie Champion came in there. I think she wasn't getting equal billing, and they should not. I think Carrie Champion from the beginning was eye candy. I mean, I'm just going to toss it out there. And I think she became more than that, and there wasn't enough room on the set for Carrie Champion. You've had other women who've been hosting shows there. As soon as they take up their chair, they get a big girl chair. A lot of times you see them start to be removed. And so I don't know if ESPN is the type of place that wants really dominant female anchors there. Because the one thing we really have not seen was a consistent all-women booth. Or consistent, we haven't seen that. And we should have seen it by now. We should have seen Carrie Champion and I can't think of her name now. She was a sideline reporter for a long time. Oh my God, I can't think of her name now.
Well, it's funny how they get rid of. They had people, and outside of Lisa Salters, who seems to have been there the longest and just kind of played the background. You've had some. Now it's funny. All the ones who have a little flavor, a little seasoning to them, like a Josina Anderson. Even though
that's what I'm thinking about.
You think eye candy, but you really want to see what she's going to wear and what she's going to say, because both are going to be a little, but it's funny. You can only have the one Stuart Scott. And then if you got more than one Stuart Scott, now you got problems. You can't have more than one. And I think that's one of the mistakes Stephen A is going to make, is that he wants a battler in there with him. He wants the new Skip Bayless, because newsflash, you're not getting Skip Bayless back. Not with the money they're paying him over at Fox. You're not getting it back.
And the problem was that both those egos. I mean, he's doing fine with
Sterling.
With Shannon Sharp.
Sterling. Shannon. I keep saying Sterling. It's Shannon. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So that show's a good show, but that show is not that show with Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith. Those two guys should have stayed together. Liked each other or not, I thought that was the best show on television concerning sports, because you had two polarizing figures with really good commentary who could hold each other up and chip pieces of each other but not fall apart. Right. I think what happens now is that Stephen A. Smith is so big that whoever they put in there, they're going to have to pull and carry. I don't know who they're going to put with Stephen A. Smith. But on the other side of it is, I don't want to see Stephen A. Smith up there just babbling by himself. He has to be bannering off somebody else, because Stephen A. Smith, after a while, grates at you. Even when he's doing his podcast, after a while, you're like, please, Stephen A., not again. Because something fantastic is going to come out of his mouth. He's not an SVP, a Van Pelt who can just do the show. He's not Dan Patrick. Now, that is the quintessential ESPN superstar, was Dan Patrick. Dan Patrick and the Danettes, he could hold it down himself. You didn't mind watching him every day, right? Didn't mind watching Dan Patrick. I could watch Dan Patrick every day, right? Because he always had something that he was talking about, something that was funny. He had the right tenor. He wasn't always hollering and screaming at you. It wasn't always shtick. It was just good ESPN reporting. But so ESPN has a problem because they're so reactive to what's going on in the world and to their little metrics about who likes who, that they start interchanging people instead of just leaving people alone. Like Boomer, all the rest of those guys, when you put those guys in there, they become ESPN icons. And you'll listen to Boomer today, even though, Boomer voice is gone. But when Boomer's on, it's time for football or some big sporting events going on.
Yeah, and then and forgive me for anybody who gets offended. I'm just one of those ones. Even with Greenberg, sometimes he gets a little annoying to me. He can be a little whiny at certain points. I don't want to see Greenberg every day. But Scott Van Pelt, I will, as you said. And even, I don't know where I put Stuart Scott. I like Stuart Scott. And I liked him as the predecessor to Stephen A. Smith. Could become a little aggravating after a while, but always was a professional who gave you the best. And then when you put that Linda Cohn, you put Stuart Scott in there with a little SB. They had a thing going in the early part of ESPN where you knew the consistency of what you were getting. But right now they keep, as you said, they keep interchanging these people. And then now you've got like Stephen A., who's the dark overlord of all of ESPN.
Well, the issue is that the sport was the most important thing on the show, right? Not the personality, right? It's about what you were talking about. That's what was most important. The story was way more important than the person who was delivering it. And the one thing in journalism, they always say that the reporter should not become part of the story. And that's what we see now with these anchors, the Max Kellermans, Stephen A. Smith, the
Rachel Nichols,
the different ladies moving around, the Rachel Nichols. You became the story. And for those of us out here, we don't really care about that. We like to watch you, but we like what you're telling us, right? We don't really matter how you're telling it to us. We don't really care that it's you.
Right.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like you have connection with people because they feel like you know them. So when they're coming into your television living room every day or your bedroom at a certain time every day, it's like a friend showing up and they're telling you, hey, this is what happened today in sports, because that's what's important to me. But if you're coming in and you're not really telling me what's important to me, you're telling me what's important to you, and that's yourself, it gets boring after a while.
Make sure that you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Iron Skillet Sports. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to Iron Skillet Sports on YouTube at Iron Skillet Sports.